generation, puppet on a chain, here on Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. U.S. officials have admitted an American detained in Pakistan for the murder of 2 men was a CIA agent and former employee of Blackwater, now called Z Services. That's XE. Up until Monday, the Obama administration insisted Raymond Davis was a diplomat who'd acted in self-defense.
With respect to Mr. Davis, our diplomat in Pakistan, we've got a very simple principle here, that every country in the world that is party to the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations has upheld in the past and should uphold in the future. And that is, if our diplomats are in another country, then they are not subject to that country's local prosecution.
The arrest of Raymond Davis has soured relations between the U.S. and Pakistan and revealed a web of covert American operations inside the country, part of a secret war run by the CIA. Public anger in Pakistan is widespread, was inflamed when one of the victims' wives committed suicide, saying she feared her husband's killer would be freed without trial. The Guardian newspaper in London first reported Raymond Davis's CIA link on Sunday. The paper added that many U.S. news outlets, including the New York Times, knew about Davis's connection to the CIA, but did not report on it at the request of U.S. officials who said they feared for his safety. The New York Times, the Washington Post, Associated Press, other media outlets subsequently confirmed the CIA link and admitted to withholding the story. To discuss the details of the case, we're joined by Declan Walsh via Skype from Lahore, Pakistan. Declan, the Pakistan correspondent for The Guardian, who first revealed Raymond Davis's link to the CIA. Just lay out the significance of this story and how big it is in Pakistan, Declan.
Well, Amy, really, this is the story that has absolutely dominated the headlines here in Pakistan ever since this slightly mysterious shooting incident occurred on January 27th. Initially, the focus was pretty much on the details of what actually happened when Raymond Davis opened fire on these 2 men. But there was always this, strong feeling of suspicion about what exactly his role was and what type of diplomat he was, if he was someone who was not only armed with an illegal weapon, but also someone who was able to use it so effectively. Davis fired 10 shots, all of which hit the 2 people who were killed. And now, obviously, since the news has come out that Davis is indeed employed by the CIA, that has really just added fuel to the fire here, and there have been street protests as well as pretty much blanket media coverage.
Talk about the New York Times, AP, Washington Post going along with the Obama administration, who told them not to reveal that he was CIA, that he was Blackwater. Yet the Guardian in Britain decided to blow the cover.
Well, I mean, I can't speak for those other media organizations other than what we reported in our own story, which was that we became aware before we published that other news organizations in the US had the same information we had and had decided to withhold it. What I can say is that, we engaged in discussions with the American government, with US government officials before publication, and they made the same case to us that we shouldn't publish. This case basically ran along 2 lines. Part of it was they said that this would greatly complicate their efforts to get Davis out. We felt that this was an argument that didn't particularly apply to us, that whether it made it harder or easier, our priorities lay elsewhere. But the second and potentially more serious argument they made was that Davis's life would be endangered if his employment status at the CIA was revealed, and specifically that his life would be endangered at the jail where he's currently being held. It's called Kot Lakpat in Lahore. We looked at those arguments very seriously. We interviewed a number of people. We tried to find out as much as we could about conditions at the jail. But ultimately, we decided that we didn't buy that argument effectively, because we felt that, for a start, most Pakistanis actually at that point were already working on the assumption that Raymond Davis was a CIA official. I mean, there were stories in all of the papers here referring to Davis as a CIA official. The day that we published our story, there was a front-page piece in one of the English papers saying Raymond Davis is linked to the CIA. And at that point, Pakistani officials with both the intelligence service and with the government were telling us that he was CIA. So really, this was, a very thinly disguised secret, if you like, in Pakistan at that point.
And his relationship with Blackwater?
As we had also understood that Ray Davis was a Special Forces soldier. He served with an Army Special Forces unit until 2003. At that point, he retired from the Army, and he went into the very lucrative military contracting business. At some point between 2003 and 2010, the dates aren't entirely clear, Davis was working either for Blackwater or for the company it subsequently renamed itself as Z Services. Davis appears to have worked for Blackwater in Pakistan as a security contractor for the CIA initially. Then, as we understand it, the CIA effectively took that contract away from Blackwater, but retained people like Davis as employees of the CIA going forward. They basically changed the way that they ran their operation here.
And explain exactly what Raymond Davis did and what it meant for him now to have diplomatic immunity, and the wife of one of the two victims he killed committing suicide.
Well, there's really not a lot of clarity about what Raymond Davis did. The official U.S. government line from the beginning was that he was either an employee of the consulate in Lahore or that he was a diplomat. Now it's really not clear whether, as an employee of the CIA, what exactly he did. Some reports are suggesting that he was merely part of a security team, and there are other reports suggesting that he was part of surveillance activities, espionage and surveillance. And certainly when one sees the items that were seized on him at the time, not only the weapon, he was also carrying a GPS, he was carrying a telescope, he was carrying an air ticket, things like that. Those items have certainly aroused suspicion among Pakistanis that he was more than just a simple security officer.
Declan Walsh, we're going to continue this conversation and put it up as a web exclusive. Declan Walsh is the Guardian's foreign correspondent for Pakistan and Afghanistan, author of the forthcoming book on Pakistan, Inshallah Nation, first revealed in Raymond Davis's link to the CIA in the Guardian newspaper. This is Democracy Now! I am Amy Goodman.